here's the big question. How are entrepreneurs like us, who have been hustling and struggling to make it to success, who seem to make it one step forward only to fall 2 steps back, who are dedicated, determined, and driven, how do we finally break through and win? That is the question, and this podcast will give you the answers. My name is Brian Kelly, and this is the Mind, Body, Business Show. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Mind, Body, Business Show. We have another fantastic show lined up for you tonight. None other than Brandon Bakhtiar is on with us tonight, an amazing entrepreneur who is looking to change lives one person at a time, and he's on the path to greatness. And I can't wait for you to meet him and learn from him in the ways that he is going about building his business. And that is really what this show is about. The Mind, Body, Business Show is a show where I bring on successful entrepreneurs from all over the world and literally elicit their secrets, their strategies. What is it that is making them successful that possibly you could model and emulate and do the same for your own business? And so that is what we're here for, is to give you everything you need basically to crush it in your business. And I cannot wait to bring him on, and that'll be very, very soon. And so the Mind, Body, Business Show is about what I call the 3 pillars of success. And they are the very namesake of this show. And that is mind, which stands for mindset. And that is, to a person, everyone that I had studied over a period of about, let's say, 10 years, successful people, they all had these 3 traits that kept bubbling up to the top. I was studying what made them so successful versus someone like me. And mind was about mindset. To a person, each of these individuals had a very powerful, very positive, and most importantly, a very flexible mindset. And body was literally that they each take care and took care of their body, both through exercise and nutritionally. And that's something Brandon does very, very well. And then business is multifaceted, and it has so many unique characteristics in what you have to do to build a successful business. And it all comes down to really mastering the various skill sets like marketing, sales, team building, systematizing, leadership. I could go on and on and on. And you may be thinking, well, if I'm going to master any one thing, Brian, isn't that going to take a long time? And now I have to master all those and more? Well, the good news is not really. If you just focused on one skill set to begin with and got to the point as you are getting close to mastery, you can use that one skill set to leverage and bring in other people who have mastered the other skill sets that you need to build a thriving business. And that one skill set that I would recommend that you concentrate on first and foremost is the skill set of leadership. Once you're down the path of mastering it, you don't have to fully master it before you start pulling in those people. Now you can bring in someone who has mastered marketing, bring in someone else who's mastered sales, and bring in someone else who's mastered systematizing and all the other ones. And then you can build a thriving business much faster than doing it by yourself. And so it's about leveraging what you have and your talents and your skills. And another wonderful thing about very successful people that I learned while going through this long study was that to a person, they're also very avid readers of books. And with that, I want to segue very quickly to a segment I affectionately call Bookmarks.
Bookmarks. Born to read. Bookmarks. Ready, steady, read. Bookmarks. Brought to you by reachyourpeaklibrary.com.
All right, so Brandon Bakhtiar, he's coming on real soon. He's in the back. He's scratching the monitor saying, Brian, let me in already. Let's go. He's coming on very, very soon. reachyourpeaklibrary.com. Now, before I go into this, and this will be very brief, a real quick word of advice, and that is for those of you watching or listening at this very time, I would implore upon you that instead of succumbing to that desire to go clicking away and looking at the resources as they're being brought up, because I know Brandon will have several himself, is instead to write it down while the show is going on. Take notes and then visit these resources after the show is over. And the reason is because the magic happens in the room. I used to say this because of my past speaking experience. Back when I was kind of a newbie at speaking, I'd be on stage getting to the really good part, and at that point would see on occasion someone get up and leave the room. They got that all important text message, or maybe they just had to use the restroom. But the key is to stay focused and stay tuned in and stay listening, especially to what Brandon has to say during this show, because I would hate for you to miss that one golden nugget that could potentially change your life forever. It is that important. So just take notes and visit these things when it's over, like reachyourpeaklibrary.com. You can start practicing right now and write down reachyourpeaklibrary.com. It is a website that my team put together, that I had them put together as I read books and vetted them myself personally. The reason is because I didn't start reading really hardly anything book-wise until about the age of 47, which was about 12 years ago. Yes, I know you're all doing the math. You got it right. 59 at this point. And I realized, my gosh, the sheer power of reading books and what it did for my life, both in my business life and my personal life, and in many cases. And so I had this site put together, and then I just started adding books to it as a catalog. They're in here in no rhyme or reason order of any kind. They just got added as I said, here, add this one to it. And so you'll see many authors you've heard of, others you haven't. Just look at the author, look at the book, read the description. The first one that jumps off the page, go get it wherever you choose to get your books. It could be at a Barnes and Noble, a brick and mortar. It could be on Amazon. All of these buttons go to Amazon. The point is, this is not here for me to make money. This is here to give you the resource to say, go get it, then read it. Be sure to read it. But the most important part after reading it is to put into action what you learn from it. Without the action, it really doesn't do you much good, does it? And so that's what reachyourpeaklibrary.com is. It's literally my gift to all of you, a resource that you can use to really get ahead in business much faster, and in life, to be honest. Speaking of getting ahead in business and in life, it is time, ladies and gentlemen, to bring on the one and only Brandon Bakhtiar. Here he comes. Get ready.
It's time for the Guest Expert Spotlight. Savvy, skillful, professional, adept, trained, big league, qualified.
And there he is, ladies and gentlemen. Yes, it is the one and the only Brandon Bakhtiar. How are you doing tonight, buddy?
Thanks for having me. Appreciate it, Brian.
Coming from all the way on the West Coast, all the way in California. I used to be in California, so it's fun saying that. Now I'm in Florida, so it's awesome. We're 3 hours apart, but we're here live together. Now, before we jump into just really diving into that big, beautiful brain of yours, Brandon, would it be okay with you if I gave you a formal introduction so folks can get a little bit of a background about you before we get rolling?
Please.
All right, here we go. Thank you so much. Brandon holds a bachelor's of science in microbiology and molecular genetics and an advanced degree from UC Davis in comparative pathology. There's a lot of big words in here. After taking and not passing the patent bar, Brandon was starting to study for a second exam date when he was offered a position as a personal trainer at a high-end fitness club in San Francisco, where he first learned the principles of reciprocal inhibition and started gaining experience. After going independent and making a living for 12 years in San Francisco as a self-employed personal trainer, Brandon was hired by Genentech, where he worked for 3 years before founding Stretchy, which is a big part of the topic we're going to be talking about tonight. You can see that for those of you watching live or recorded video. He has his Stretchy banner on the background. We'll get into that and where he's going with that and what's happening and how he's changing lives with that business. So officially and formally, welcome to the show, Brandon. Let's dive into it. I love to talk about opening the show about mindset because it's the first word of this show, because it's my personal belief that our success or lack thereof is 100% due to what's going on between these two ears up here and this brain. And so with you, you know how entrepreneurship, it is not for the faint of heart. It's not for everybody. It is a difficult thing to do because all we do is solve problems every day, every single day, over and over. And it can get arduous. It can get kind of to be a pain in the rear. So for you, when you're waking up in the morning and knowing that you're going to face all these challenges and issues that we all do, the setbacks, what's going on in your brain as you're waking up, coming to what is keeping you driven? What is keeping you motivated to keep doing this day in and day out? I mean, what is that for you?
I honestly think that it is. Well, at being self-employed, being a person, a self-employed business owner, you have to wear a lot of hats. They always say, which means you're going to be struggling with some topics and aspects of business that are not your forte. So this just means what I've discovered is just ask questions, always be polite, be humble enough to ask for help. And generally, if you're polite with people and persistent and show gratitude for the help you do receive, it'll open doors. But above all, you have to combine all those. And it just means a lot of times you're not going to get what you want at first. You have to, again, and accept that graciously. And maybe when you revisit that door, if appropriate time later, maybe they'll be a little more receptive. But that's all ties in with being tenacious and persistent. So. I think in terms of business, it's important just to, the key thing is tenacity. I mean, everybody's heard the anecdotes about how many times Edison failed with his light bulb. And the key thing I've always said before about failure and success is that failure is not final and success is fleeting. So, anytime you're trying to succeed, you have never failed. You've never failed until you accept failure. You have to accept failure and kind of officially kind of give up on and throw in the towel on that endeavor. Then you failed. But as long as you're trying, there's a chance of possibility.
I love it. And yeah, I love that failure is not final. And I think, as entrepreneurs, we make mistakes. And what I learned after too much time on my own, trying to figure things out on my own, letting my ego get in the way, I finally learned that the best way to succeed is make the most mistakes I possibly can within the shortest amount of time and to let it happen instead of trying to be perfect every step of the way, which was how I started. And it really hindered my success and my progress because I just thought everything had to be 100% ready to go with every I dotted, every T crossed, and it had to be perfect. But by the time I finally finished getting something ready, I had wasted so much time. I didn't even know if anybody wanted it yet. And so I learned the hard way to brush that ego aside and just go for it. And don't worry about it if you make a mistake. Learn from it and move on. And the quicker you do that, the more you know what not to do, and quicker to find out what is the right way to do certain things. Do you agree with that?
Yeah, there's I think a book talking about the importance of speed to failure. So just know if you're looking for a diamond underneath the stone and you're in front of a field full of stones, you're gonna have to turn over a lot of stones and not find what you're looking for. But you just keep going until every stone is turned over. So so part of like what I feel allows you to keep going. You're gonna have to tap in and find your motivation. Sometimes it's family, maybe it's a loved one, a child, maybe just the drive for success. Usually I think having another person involved, for me personally, that's more motivating than just my own self materialistic wishes or aspirations or travel, or all the things you typically hear people say. For me, my loved ones and being able to help those who are also humble and deserving and being able to make great things happen for them, I think that's very, very much more fulfilling than I think a lot of the wishes that I think our society had, even 20 or 30 years ago, just in terms of material accumulation.
And see, this is what I love about what I get to do, Brandon, is people like you, is getting to know people like you. You are more concerned with helping others than you're more focused on that than you are on making money. And let's be clear to everyone, making money is very important, but what you focus on first and foremost is even more important, especially if you can do it so that you're not focused on the money all the time. When you're first starting out in business, I mean, you can probably relate to this, Brandon. I know I can. When you're first starting out, your focus is money because you need the money to survive, to pay the bills, to build your business. And as that grows and that matures, that can shift into the real reason that we all do what we do. And that purpose is to help and serve others, given our gifts and our talents and things we've nurtured. How does that resonate with you?
Yeah, unfortunately, money does have to be a component. I mean, that's currently the system we work under. But yes, you do have to focus on money. But hopefully, you have to care about money. Let me rephrase that. Let me rather than
Yeah.
say focus. You have to, it matters. You can't pretend it doesn't, but overall, if you're, I think, sincere and doing and delivering good, and doing a decent job of wearing all those hats, then the money will come, as they say. So you just have to keep developing relationships, and for me with Stretchy and assisted stretch, I do believe, a model or an analogy that I frequently draw a comparison to. We could all think back right now. It's early 2024. We could think back maybe 16, 17 years ago when you first heard of Lyft or Uber, and had your first friend explain to you like, hey, I'm going to use this app to call a complete stranger, and they're going to come in their own personal car and do what a taxi does. And if there was a time when that was novel and strange, and people kind of recoiled in surprise about such an idea. And now each of those companies are multi-billion-dollar companies. So a lot of times there's an adoption curve where something that's new and introduced will be, the novelty of it will be cause people to step back or to give them pause. But that's, and it doesn't mean it's going to pan out, but sometimes it just takes some time. I believe with assisted stretch, I've seen enough people after they do a stretch out, especially people who have not had a stretch out. It's kind of like the improvement is to the point where when these guys I'd have them walk out to this edge of the grass and back, 10 feet out and back. Their eyes are big, and they're lifting their knees extra high and marveling at like how easy they can move. And I think that is also very encouraging, very rewarding when you do something for someone, maybe a chef, and you make your best favorite dish, and you serve it to some people and they eat it, or even at Thanksgiving, your holiday, in your own home, and people marvel at your cooking. It's very rewarding. So it just shows that I think deep in all of us that we really have we feed off of, and our soul is fed by getting that warm feeling, whether it's helping a stranger who's not expecting it, and shows immense gratitude, or somebody marveling at your cooking or exclaiming about a gift. That's the same thing. I think when you're doing something, when you're working with people, in a hands-on situation and helping them alleviate pain or move better, there's a special gratitude you get there. Not different from how people are grateful for, like getting their financial advisor getting them 15% instead of 13% return that year. It's different from that.
Yeah. And I think this is a good time to segue into more of an education about exactly what assisted stretching is, because before I met you, I didn't know it even existed. I am like, what do you mean assisted stretching? I mean, I played football and I had a coach who would help pull your hamstring back farther, press on it. But that was it. That was the extent of assisted stretching that I was aware of. And so I'm curious if you would give us just a quick overview of what is it, and who. Let's go through who's your target market. Who do you work with most right now? And then also, if you have a success story or two you'd like to share, because this is a different form of stretching that I've been used to, which means many people probably have not heard of it. And I think it's very important that more people learn of things like this, because just stretching by itself, when I've done it on my own, I've seen massive benefits. So I can only imagine assisted. Wow, I'm probably going to stretch farther than I could on my own. I'll probably get better results. So I'm just guessing. So if you wouldn't mind, would you like to give us a quick description of what it is? I'll pull up your website as you do that.
Sure.
So cool.
I frequently, when I talk about assisted stretching, and sometimes people will think about that they can, they'll reply back that they do their own routine, or maybe they go to yoga. And oftentimes I'm not going to knock that. My reply is great. Keep doing that. But the truth is, you could also cook for yourself. And the fact that you could cook for yourself doesn't mean you never go to restaurants. You still go to restaurants. And because there's a convenience factor, and two, let's be honest, sometimes some restaurants are going to cook special dishes you're never going to whip up yourself. So what we do is we offer discrete packs of time where people are not obligated to a membership. We have at stretchy.us a short 70-second demo video there by the Golden Gate Bridge, where we explain what assisted stretch is and just demonstrate it. Because again, right now it's very much in the early days. It's similar to where Lyft and Uber, where the concept of getting into a stranger's car was novel and strange, and now it's commonly accepted as a normal thing. I think assisted stretch right now, prior to the rise of our company and other brick and mortar chains, you had to be one of in the NFL or on a special team, or maybe like back in the day in football when you played whatever team sport, lacrosse or what have you, that in that team environment you partner up and maybe be coached on how to stretch. So what we do is we cut costs by where we think being co-locating with golf courses. That's going to be make it more available to a demographic that frankly can afford it. They need it. And you asked as to the demographic. Our demographic is basically everybody, but just like every door hinge is going to benefit from some oil. Brand new door hinges are not going to have a delta of improvement compared to, say, an old, worn, rusty door hinge. You put oil in that door hinge, it's a massive improvement. So generally, the demographics that are more like the old, worn, rusty door hinge are generally people who are older. Whereas newer door hinges are more like people who are younger, and men tend to be better beneficiaries, more like a worn a door hinge. So when you put the oil, when you give the oil being assisted stretch, the change in terms of improvement is definitely much more stark with men and people who are older. So that's generally speaking. Now, of course, people who have college level sports backgrounds will readily remember and just be very eager for a stretch out because they know from their sports days like what the value. So hopefully that clarifies what assisted stretch is. And sometimes I'll just say, look, you don't have to be one of the 49ers, in order to get to benefit from a stretch out. If if you're about to do your activity, whether it's pickleball or tennis, or you're about to go on a run, or I have quite a few clients who are just coming to me just to get, they don't even play golf and they're just coming over there just to get stretch outs there. So hopefully that contrasts. Let me just say one more thing. Just the differences of what we do. We do have some proprietary stretches that are different and I think better, because I did join one of our competitors as a client for about a year. I tried out more than 8 of their practitioners in multiple locations. And some of the stretches, I knew most of them. There are variations of ones, but they are not doing a few stretches that we do. On top of that, I really feel like having clients, you got to be in tune you're giving a stretch out. You have to be very close communication with the client in terms of, so that they could relax. And in order to relax, there is always a fear when you have somebody else moving your limb to the point where you feel a stretch that's very challenging. You get concerned. It's hard to relax. So one of the primary things we have to do is just establish, look, make sure they feel reassured that they're the boss, that they're in control, and nothing reckless is going to be done. So to that end, what we do is we have them verbally rank the intensity of what they're doing by using their own number scale of 1 to 10. So think I explained to them, a 1, 2 means you barely feel it. A 5 is a medium. Usually we're looking to get to a 7. Now that stretch right there, that if you could go back one, that right there, if I was to push that ankle down towards my knees, that is an external hip rotation, stretch. And so we do a sequence where we kind of go both internal and external rotation. But that one is extremely beneficial for hip mobility, just that internal, external, not as opposed to flexion where you're bringing the knee up toward your chin, and an extension when you're doing like a fireman's kick. That's just one of the 3 hamstring stretches. There's a bent leg. That is one of the figure 4 stretches. That's a good piriformis stretch. We use a certain technique, a special technique to help, like I call the butter knife technique, which I explain only to clients really as we're doing it. So in addition to co-locating with golf courses, we also don't require membership. I think a lot of people are not thrilled about the idea of having to put a card on file and get billed every month. So I know, nobody likes regular billing subscription for subscriptions. So we chose to shy away from that and instead just offer a la carte packs of time. The other difference is some of the brick and mortar chains will insist that you your pack, your stretch out is either, say a 25-minute or a 50-minute commitment, whereas we prefer to allow people the flexibility, forgive the pun, of being able to have it be as long or as short as they wish. So that's the other difference.
Very cool, and I appreciate you for giving that. That was a great overview of everything. And that one looked painful to me, where the knee was coming. That one you said to hold on and let's look at that one. I'm like, ooh, that could be. And that's why it's important that you have somebody like you who's knowledgeable, who knows how far to go without taking it too far.
It's not only how far to go, like just moving that person's ankle away, that's one thing. But if they report knee pain, then there's there's a plan B where you could literally, I'll grab the tibia, I'll grab the shin with I'll grip it, and I'll pull the shin like I'm trying to lengthen it away from the table. So I'm actually almost like giving a little bit of decompression to the knee, and generally the tissues will move. So just if you pull the head of the tibia and fibula away from the end of the femur, right, the distal end of the femur, that little bit of, if you just grab the tibia, i.e. their calf, and you kind of pull towards their ankle gently. Of course, we're talking about gently. You're just giving a little bit, a few pounds of pull force. That'll actually give a little bit of separation. And if you separate, those joints are not immobile. They can move a few millimeters. And if you just give that little bit of separation, sometimes that'll relieve. So that's one of the tricks, that I'll employ a lot of times, just pulling it away or moving the joint, the limb in a way to create decompression on the joint. So as you're then able to move it a little further. But maybe those are nuances that usually we don't explain too much to the clients. I just do that if I hear knee pain. I know to try that. If they still report knee pain, then sometimes you just want to abandon the stretch. Something that's causing negative pain, I always tell people, look, in the stretching, you want to differentiate between good pain and bad pain. Bad pain is going to be kind of sudden and electric in nature, sharp, maybe more so in the joint or at maybe where the tendon will attach, or maybe in some of the surrounding ligaments. But a positive stretch will actually it'll feel challenging, almost like a pain, but it'll have that nuanced good aspect to it. It'll be a good pain. It's different. It's more general, spread out. It's not sharp and sudden in nature. It's not fiery, and it's generally more in the belly of the muscle. So those are good, that good pain. We teach people to embrace good pain. We teach them to breathe into it. We teach them that we're going to be receptive to their input. That's another hallmark of Stretchy, is that we strive to make sure that there's, when I say tight communication, part of being an expert at practitioner is that you know how to read the signs. And frankly, a lot of that is just looking at the face. The face, like in poker players know, there's little micro flexions in the face that you can read. And I do use the face a great deal, and by feel. I could feel the tension in the muscle. I can usually feel when somebody could go further. I don't assume that I can. I always make sure I get verbal permission from them. And once people find out that you're extremely attentive to what they wish, it enhances their comfort level. And when they feel a little more comfortable, they relax better. So it's a nice positive feedback loop.
Awesome. Hey, we got a buddy, Dennis Normella, who started here in the United States. He is a very prominent entrepreneur in his own right. He was one of my very first interviews almost 5 years ago on this show. He is heading back to China, where he's been teaching students primarily the English language, but he's been reporting. He's been there for several years now, and just want to say thanks for tuning in from LA International Airport as he waits to board and head back to China. Safe travels, my friend. And back to stretching and body, and a lot of people might be going, but Brandon and Brian, what the heck does this have to do with business building and entrepreneurship and all that? And my answer would just be everything, because, again, it's mind, body, business. And without the first two being in top peak performance, mind and body, your business will suffer. I know this for a fact. So if you have developed your mind, you've worked on your mind, you've maybe gone through some NLP courses, neuro-linguistic programming, you have worked on positive and flexible attitude and done that at a very subconscious level. Then you go to body and you take care of yourself. You exercise. Stretching is an amazing release of stress and toxins, and you feel just like you're a new person when you're done. You have more energy, you have less pain. When you have all those and you combine them, you are going to perform far better in your business. So this is incredibly important to incorporate something like this into your daily regimen. Or wait, I just said daily. Is this something you recommend to do on a daily basis, Brandon? How often?
I think that you can do it every day, although I think a lot of benefit is derived even if you only do it twice a week. There's generally a good correlation with frequency, but I mean, I'll say this: even if you're not doing it as often as you wish, you are never going to do a good quality stretch out or a workout. You're going to be walking out of the gym or the place where you did your after your stretch, you're getting up and feel the improvement and regret it. The converse, though, where you have decided not to go to the gym, or you decided you don't stretch, and you're never going to you frequently will regret that choice. So I always encourage people like that stretch that we have for the low back reset. We have on YouTube. If you search my favorite wall-based low back reset, that video in under 4.5 minutes does explain how to do one of my favorite stretches. Yes, thank you, Brian. We do have it on the website as well. You'll see right there. Yes, right there. So that stretch right there. And Dennis, so if you're in LAX, I know you can't, do that stretch, up in the airport. But I do think that video does show how to set up a yoga mat. And I think, if the airports can strand us in the airport and leave us, sleeping and against the floor and so on, heck, why not be able to put your feet in that position against one of the walls?
So I've seen people do stranger things in the airport. So yes.
So I think, and to fortify what you said earlier, Brian, about, you need to run a business successfully. I think a lot of benefit is, in terms of benefit of the doubt is given to you if you epitomize, and you just as superficial it may be if you to the person in front of you, if you epitomize health, so there's things you could do in terms of just being healthy, living healthy. You'll feel better, and that will come through as well. But physically looking the part just opens doors that honestly it shouldn't, because it's a superficial determination. But I think we're all hardwired to want to gravitate, towards, in terms of leadership and as a mate, to people who epitomize health. And like we all know that characterizes, all the various attributes that kind of you think of in health. So, but even if you're not thinking of being a leader or trying to attract a mate, you're at a phase where you just want to feel better, trying out that low backs reset, again, we call it the prayer, because your feet are put together flush. The bottom of your feet are put together kind of in a prayer position, but you put the outside of the feet against a wall. And against that wall, as you slide them down, it kind of is like coiling a spring. So you get the challenge of the tissues of the knee and hip is that they are slid down into that deep Indian style. That's the first explanation of the video. But that coiled force of that spring kind of pins the pelvis down. And so step one is kind of getting the feet against the wall, sliding them down to where you feel in your 1 to 10 scale, your own 7, like a good challenge level, but something that you could sustainably endure and breathe into. And then you kind of shift your shoulder blades away. So, and then the final part is you reach out. It's kind of like you're on an amusement park, you're going down the scary part, palms facing each other, just extend, reach as far as you possibly can. So that video is a nice tutorial. I'm happy to, if you find my number on the website, text me. I'm happy to spend time in detailing any nuances, helping people get it dialed in so it works optimally for them as well.
Yeah, so this is great because this is a gift, by the way, from Brandon to you, and you can do this by yourself. You don't need a person to assist you in the stretch. All you need to do is follow his instructions that he provides there on the video. And thank you for offering, for people to just say, hey, send me a text, and if you need any, further refinement or explanation, then you can give that to them. That's very nice of you to do that, and that's another quality that shows people how you're made. Brandon, you're not saying text me and I'll charge you $20 for a 5-minute consultation. You're saying I will give you a hand. And you know what? For those of you that do reach out to him, please do it with respect and don't try to take up all of his time, because when the rubber meets the road, he does need to make money. But accept this as a gift and actually take him up on it. I would say it on the other side. So it's a very valuable gift for someone to give of themselves, their time, to somebody they've never met. And he's only doing that just to help you. And again, he never met you, most likely. So thank you, Brandon, for being an amazing model for others to follow in that regard for sure. So I appreciate that. This is a gift, everyone. So go to stretchy.us, and on the upper part of the navigation bar is low back the prayer. And you just click that link and you'll go straight to this video. And this way you can actually kind of get an idea of what it's going to be like. But this is, again, without assistance. Wait till you learn and feel and experience getting it with an assistance like from Brandon directly. And you also have another person that you have trained that apparently you're working together and you're looking to grow that business even farther and spread more. And we never got to it. If you have a quick success story, I mean, I was scrolling as you were talking. I saw actually a good number of women sprinkled in there that gave testimonials for you. But it doesn't matter, male or female. If you have a story that really sticks out of somebody that really got a big benefit from this, that sticks out in your mind, I'd love to hear about it.
Yeah, honestly, I just think it's it's kind of like somebody who works out, they're going to feel a little bit better. But it's a journey. It's not, there's not going to be a part, maybe there's a part of a journey that you have a favorite part, but in health, wellness, it's a lifestyle. And I don't know if there's a smashing success story. It's not a drug you take and in Western medicine, it just affects a fast change. It's not a surgery where you need your hip replaced and you get it replaced. And after the few days of hell that you get, when you heal, you find like you're better, but it's never quite the same. I think, I think,
well, I saw your primary location is at a golf course, and I can only imagine that their driving distance and other things have improved over time. Is that something you've experienced?
I've heard some people report like better swings, feeling better, better rotation, and being able to walk the course. Just that part of it, being able to walk the course. They were on the brink of having to need to occasionally use a golf cart, but now they could walk the course, carry their bag, or they could make it through the course. I think when all your friends are able to walk it and you're struggling to keep up. I mean, that's a terrible thing to lose out on that social connection. It's an important part of seeing your friends, hanging out with your people, on that once a week or however when you guys meet, and having that fall out of your life, I think would be a big loss. So
yeah,
finding ways that you can continue to do the things that are part of the sweet part of life, I think is very important.
Yeah, I years and years ago, I got into something I'd never done in my life, and I didn't do it for a really long time, but I did it on a regular basis for a couple of months, and that was yoga, and it was once a week for a couple of months. That's it, and it was to a DVD. I'd be in my living room floor, and I'll just never forget because I used to play golf with my dad, and after doing it for a couple of months, we went out, and the ball just started launching off the tee, and it was 20 yards easy farther. And my dad's like, "What the heck have you been doing?" And I said, "I have no idea. It must be all the stretching I've been doing because I'm limber." I didn't feel like I was any stronger, like, muscular wise, which I didn't feel any significant change in the swing, the speed of the swing. It just felt the same to me, but the ball was launching and it was like, wow. So and everything you say, quality of life, you feel better. Your pain is less frequent. You're more confident when that happens as well. And all of this rolls over into how you present yourself in front of clients, whether it be on a video like we're doing now, whether it be when you're writing ad copy. How you feel is going to be reflected in what you write and how you respond on email. It permeates everything. And so I'm so happy to have Brandon on this show because the physical part is so necessary. The body, the mind and body are a team. They're your team. If any part of your team is not working at peak performance at top level, then the team as a whole will suffer. So if your body isn't up to par, the team as a whole is going to suffer. If your mind isn't there, the team as a whole is going to suffer. So take care of both. And Brandon has a surefire, proven way for you to at least take care of your body. And from the physical sense of, and this is, it's not even exercise. You're the one actually pushing their limbs around. They're not lifting, are they? Are they lifting? Are they doing
right?
Exercise?
No, so there will be some, not on all the stretches, but we use a technique known as reciprocal inhibition. And a lot of times I'll explain it like you don't think about it, but if you're flexing your bicep, you don't think about it, but your nervous system will actually turn off and deactivate the antagonist tricep. So what we'll do is sometimes we'll get them up to an appropriate stretch. Usually what they rank is about their 7. We'll then tell them, and I'll have them do flex at different prescribed capacities or effort levels. And for usually about a 5-second duration, that is effectively turns off the surrounding musculature. And then when I tell them to relax, usually we could go past where they ranked as a 7, and they'll go a little bit further and they'll rank that. Sometimes I've had people go a little bit deeper and then claim it's only a 6.5 or a 6. So it's pretty effective, and that's a good illustration, Brian, of why you would need assisted, because that's it's very difficult to do that by yourself. You go to a yoga class, you're balancing, you're straining to reach into the pose. If sometimes, if you can't, sink into the stance, maybe you need a yoga block, or you need something to support you so that you could really relax. In my own stretching routines that I do, I utilize like a bench at a gym, and I'll put one knee down and the other foot real far out and kind of sink down into a split, hamstring on one side, hip flexor on the other, kind of a split, and I'll kind of sag into it, I'll put my knee really far out from the bench so that the hip it really sags down. I think stretches that like that, you still need some kind of like appurtenance to be, to support you. So again, assisted stretch with Stretchy, we basically do it for you in terms of you have a comfortable table. You get to just focus on verbally commanding just as easy as you adjust the volume with a plus/minus button on your remote control for your TV. Likewise here, you don't even have to push a button. You just get to verbally command a little bit more, a little bit less, and just so we get that that stretch right at the right level. You have somebody who knows how to guide you at when to flex and provides the resistance and guides you all through it. So we're trying to make it easy. I do hope that it's gonna become a more prevalent, health and wellness, aspect to American society. I think that just like Lyft and Uber and the idea of sleeping in somebody's house with Airbnb when they were brand new, that was a novel thing, not a terribly long amount of time ago either. So I think we all kind of remember, like a lot of people who did some kind of sports in high school or college level, you remember like stretching out. And what's really crazy to me, Brian, too, is like a lot of people in America, Western civilization, we just accept that you can't squat. You do a deep squat. It's part of getting older, or you can't sit Indian style like you did easily as a kid. And it's just part of getting older. And that's not the case. You look at Southeast Asia, Vietnam, they kick back, sitting down, at the street, like squatting with their butt to heels. And everybody does that. You're not just the children. You see, in some of the Middle Eastern cultures, they'll sit on the floor in Afghanistan and a lot of countries where, whereas in America and a lot of Western, we have these couches, chairs that basically the degree of bend between the tibia and the femur doesn't go much more than 90 degrees. And same thing in the femur, relative to the torso doesn't go much more. You're in this 90-90 position. So, there's a lot of people are realizing that, like, be able to sit Indian style. And that's another one of the stretches that I'm a big fan of, is basically it's like sitting Indian style, but with training wheels. So instead of crossing your shins below you and sitting on them, which is too intense for most of us, you basically do that against the wall and you tuck your feet down the wall. But so the first thing is like I explain in that stretch for the prayer stretch, you basically scooch up against the wall, get your butt up against the wall. And instead of, putting your feet down together like this, you just cross your ankles, and then try to, if I'm crossed and this is now my opposite foot, I'll kind of reach with my hand and pull that down. So kind of tuck your feet down. And it's helpful to have a yoga mat against the wall. Basically, just put it in an L position, right? So half of it's the midpoint's right against the junction of the wall and the floor. And then your feet could be, you kind of protect the wall if you care about that wall. Again, if you're at the airport, then you could just maybe just do it anyway. But yeah, hopefully we'll have. I would love to see aspects where like these, like it's normal in like bus stations and airports where people are congregating. You just have like a padded wall and getting into that pose, is more of a normal thing rather than like right now. It's kind of like, what is that person doing? I feel like that kind of judgment, I'm like, I hope all of you who are listening, just don't care. Do it. People will see you. You might get somebody kind of, looking at or rolling your eyes, but inside they're a little bit envious that you have the self-assertiveness and confidence, self-confidence to go ahead and do something. I mean, as long as you're being respectful, obviously I wouldn't do it in a church or something, but but I do think we should embrace, doing things that are gonna be good for us and making them more obvious in society. I think examples are good.
Very cool. Yeah. And there's a question I love. One of my favorite questions to ask any business owner, switching it back to business side of things for a moment, is, when you go out and you're trying to get the word out, that's called marketing. You're trying to get eyeballs to your business. You're trying to get foot traffic to your business. And what used to work in marketing, say 20 years ago, doesn't necessarily work today anymore. And what's working today right now may not necessarily work 20 years out in the future. And so I love asking this question of every entrepreneur I have on this show. For you right now, forget about the past, don't worry about the future. What is your go-to form of marketing that is the most successful right now? Is it word of mouth? Is it ads? Is it signage? What is it for you that's working right now for your business?
I definitely think, nothing is more powerful than somebody vouching for your good or service, and telling someone else like a positive recollection of or experience about it, and really emphasizing that. And if there's a modicum of need on the part of their friend, that and their friend or family member or colleague, whatever, gives them that says that positive thing about the product or service. I think, come on, we gotta agree that's definitely the most powerful. Over anything.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah, to your point, I mean, when you were talking about your business and explaining it, and I was scrolling, this is it. This is proof of what Brandon's talking about. Is look at all these third-party reviews. These are not, he didn't twist the arm. He didn't pay them to review. Probably you didn't pay them, did you? I know you didn't. And he's got people in here. But look at these. Every single one of these is a 5-star review. Well, there's one that was 4. We'll throw that one out. But
if they're all, I tell people just put down what you think is best. Just write the truth. I would love all 5s, but that's not real. Nobody's going to pitch. That shows you that they're, if occasional 4, like I'd like to know why, but that person, they were really happy with it, and I guess a 4 is great for them.
4 is not bad either, and I've only seen one as this thing scrolling. The rest have been 5s.
But
and you're right. If every one of them was 5, there might be someone going, "Is this real?"
Well, I always say too, like, look, Babe Ruth was a fantastic batter, but he didn't bat 1,000.
That's right. But I mean, you're one shy of 1,000 in this list that I just went down. So kudos to you, and that shows a lot. And for those of you watching, reviews are very, very powerful if you can get them. So always, anytime you have a client that comes to you, always ask for a review. Would you mind? You can even offer an incentive if you want. I'll give you a 10% discount if you'll give me just an honest review and we're done, good or bad. Would that be okay? Kind of thing. And here's the information on where to go to write that review. But always be collecting testimonials, reviews, third party shouting out of what you have done for them. And what's that going to do to you? It's gonna really compel you to give them the best freaking service you possibly can, because you want a 5-star review. And so it's a beautiful synergy. It's improving your desire and your passion to give them the best results they can get. Even if your passion is already way up here, it'll raise it even a farther notch that you didn't know you had. And then they will come out of there happy and give you a review. So your business will, as a result, when people go to research you, they go, huh, there's nobody upset. I mean, there's not one in there that's upset. A 4 is not upset. A 4 that was way above average. And so the rest are 5s.
But I think as a business owner, any business owner, get ready for the 1s and the 2s. True. You're going to have some people who, again, Babe Ruth, he had some miserable strikeouts. So you're going to do that sometimes. Something's not going to fit with somebody in your product or service with someone. And it's just a matter of time. And the key is to handling that in a professional and gracious manner, and I think that's that's the real test. Not seeing if you could avoid the 1 or the 2, but in how you handle it. I would like to say, Brian, if I can, I just remembered we recently enabled the advent where people can use HSA or FSA pre-tax dollars, funds, to be reimbursed for their assisted stretch. So I would
That's
like
huge.
to. Yeah, so just on stretchy.us, it is possible. You could just we partnered with a company called TrueMed, which it basically they create and enable a survey. If you qualify, they'll be able to give you a letter of medical necessity, and combined with our invoice, it will allow you to submit it to your administrator. You can see if you click on the reimbursement instructions right there in the middle, and you scroll down a bit, you'll see there's TrueMed. And you'll see all the different administrators right there is the list. Whether you're with Optum, which is underneath United Global. I had a client who was actually with Wix, and you see all the basics. And those are specific instructions how to go ahead and provide that LMN or letter of medical necessity in combination with the invoice for reimbursement out of your FSA. And briefly, everyone, just an FSA or HSA account is pre-tax dollars, and it is to medical spending, as a 401k is pre-tax dollars to your retirement.
I actually have one of those accounts. It's phenomenal. So when I have a copay or anything, it's pre-tax. It came out. I take it out before I pay myself because it's pre-tax. It's awesome. It's phenomenal. So that's a big score and a big win for you, and that's going to enable you to help more people, and that just falls in line with who you are and what you're all about. And so that's fantastic. Oh my God, we're getting low on time. This is crazy. So Brandon, there is a particular question that I end every show with, and it's a doozy. It's amazing. I used to ask it kind of haphazardly, randomly years ago, and on occasion I'd ask it, and then as I was getting the answers, I'm like, holy moly, these answers are pretty darn profound. So I decided now, and I've been doing this now for probably 3 years at least, I end every show with this one question. And the cool thing is you're gonna crush it. There's everyone before you has, and everyone, including you and after, will continue to crush it. The answers are just amazing. And the really neat thing is, as a business owner, because they are such profound questions, it's not because of the question, it's because of the answers. I have decided to put everyone's answer into a collaborative book. And that book will have the title of the book will be the very question I'm about to ask you. And so I'll reach out to everyone, including yourself, afterward, once I get ready to publish that book, and say, hey, do you want to be part of this book? And so keep that in mind as you answer the question, because if you answer it with a couple of words, it's going to be a very, very short page. And so be as wordy as you wish. There, I'll do it that way instead of trying to think of a big word. So it's a very profound question. And the cool thing is, there is no such thing as a wrong answer, Brandon, to this question. It's not a test. It's not a quiz. It's really the exact opposite. And that is that the only correct answer is yours, because it is going to be unique to you, even to the point of how long it takes you to come up with the answer. I've had some that were like, oh, bam, instant. Others are like thinking for seconds, and I just wait. And it's fine. It's perfect because it's your answer. So there's no pressure whatsoever. Before I do that, I do see we have some live viewers here. So I wanted to announce a very special giveaway gift that they can enter to win. And they have to be watching live for this. So I'm going to put that up on the screen. And when I do that, for those of you watching, you do want to enter to win this. I kid you not. Then you'll write down the URL that I'm about to put on the screen. And then after the show's over, you go and enter to win. It's that simple. Don't do it during the show, because I want you to hear Brandon's incredible answer that's coming up. So real quick, I'll flash this up on the screen for all of you watching live, and I'll tell you verbally where to go. And so where you want to do is write this down. It's the URL is ryp.im/vacation, all lowercase. And RYP stands for Reach Your Peak. Maybe that'll simplify it. ryp.im/vacation. After the show is over, once we sign off, after Brandon has given us his amazing answer, then we will choose that winner, and you'll be notified via email. So you'll want to be sure to put in your valid email address and all that when you get to that form on that page. And back to Brandon we go for The incredible, amazing, tremendous, and stupendous final question. The build up, he's sweating like crazy, ladies and gentlemen. That's because he's fit. He probably worked out right before our show. Knowing this guy, he's a what I'm trying to think what this one guy always says. It's pretty funny. He's a madman, something like that. But anyway, in a good way. Brandon, are you ready for this incredible question?
Fire.
Ooh, I love it. He's ready. All right, here we go. Brandon Bakhtiar, how do you define success?
Yeah, success is, I think it definitely has to do with quality of your relationships around you, and your quality of your relationship with your physical fitness. I think that and be able to be fit and good relationships, and I think you need a sense of humility in order to have good relationships. Humility allows you to paves the way for respect, and respect and humility are both key ingredients of good, long-lasting relationships. And I think that's to me, that'd be the biggest definition of success. Yeah, you're having your own personal fitness and well-being, and being able to have as much impact on others. Sharing whatever aptitude or skill it is that you have, being able to share that. I think that is an aspect of success. And I think that's all I would leave. I think to me, I really do not correlate success and with your traditional measures. I don't think somebody who has $10 million is 10 times more successful than somebody with $1 million.
I love it. I love it. Fantastic. And you know what? You didn't disappoint. I knew you wouldn't, because no one ever does. Here's a really cool little factoid, if you will, and that is I've been doing this for over 3 years. This question, no two people have answered it the same way yet. I keep waiting for that one day where, oh, okay, I remember so-and-so said it just like you did. Not one. I have not had one person say that their definition of success was their quality of relationships. And the other thing, you even clarified that it wasn't about the traditional financial things that a lot of people measure success with. And that's the beauty of that question. Nobody has answered it that the financial part was the focus of their definition of success. It's always been serving others. The answers are wide and varied, and yours was one of them. And another beautiful gem of an answer. Thank you for being you, because that's where it came from your heart. And you're an amazing guy, Brandon. We have hit the end of our hour. I cannot believe it. So for everyone watching and listening, be sure to go to stretchy.us and rewind this audio or video, and you can just go there and look at the website for sure and ingest the information. But don't forget that gift and click on low back the prayer, the link at the very top, and you can get a nice stretch all by yourself without any assistance. But then when you're in the Northern California area, kind of San Francisco like ish, then be sure to look him up. He's in, what is it, Foster City area?
We're only about 5-6 miles south of SFO. So if you happen to be, doing quick passover through San Francisco, if you have a layover or, even a matter of a few hours, literally Foster City is right adjacent to the airport. We're literally, as the crow flies, 6 miles.
Oh man, you just gave me some ideas for further marketing for you, brother. Oh man, the airport. Oh man. Think about, I got to say this. Think about those that put up those massage chairs where people are face down. What if you were able to put in a stretch bench in an airport?
I think that would work if the airport would not charge an arm and a leg, forcing you to charge too much. I really feel like the practitioner, like I know when I start to scale and I have a lot of employees, I'm a strong believer in paying your employees well, but also allowing them to have escalating pay with time and seniority and building. If they are producing for you, they need to have increasing, not decreasing, returns.
I love it, man. You're gonna crush it. The culture of your business is already impeccable, and when you grow, you're gonna have very happy partners with you, working with you as employees and as maybe franchisees of what you have going on. Brandon, thank you so much for coming on. If you can, stick around a little bit after we get off the show. But for everyone else, I wanted to say thank you for coming on, for your time. I'm sure you got as much out of this, maybe more than I did. I got a lot from Brandon Bakhtiar. What an amazing young man. Thank you. Keep crushing it. Keep serving more people, Brandon. And I look forward to seeing your stretch tables everywhere I go, in every public arena possible. And you'll be kicking out those massage chairs in no time, I'm sure, because a lot better results, I would think, than just jabbing your elbow into somebody's back. Just saying. It still feels good, but still, I'm just saying. All right. With that, I'm going to call it an evening. On behalf of the amazing Brandon Bakhtiar, I am your host, Brian Kelly of the Mind Body Business Show. Until we meet again next time, very soon, about a week from now, everyone, please do two things. Number one, go out and continue to crush it and serve more people in your business. And number two, above all else, please be blessed. That is it for us. Have a great, great evening, and we'll see you again next time. Thank you for tuning in to the Mind Body Business Show podcast at www.themindbodybusinessshow.com. My name is Brian Kelly.